Hello, everybody. I just wanted to get on here and talk to you for a minute about being right with God. From your heart, that is. Because we're not out here to please man. We're not out here to please ourselves. We're out here to please God. If you're a true Bible-believing Christian, if you know that Jesus Christ is real like I do, and if you don't, you need to know this is the truth. This is not something that's made up. It's not my truth. It's the truth. Jesus is real. I know that. I've experienced with God. I've experienced with His presence in my life, the things that He's shown me, the manifestations of healings, the dreams, the things that have been spoken by men and women of God that have come true, just things that, show me the reality of God. You can say to me all day long, Jesus Christ is your truth, that's your truth, that's what you believe. No, the truth is the truth. There's no, you got one truth and I got a different truth. You can't have different truths. The truth is the truth. The truth doesn't change. Kids grow up till about 10, 12 years old believing Santa Claus is real, and they firmly believe that's the truth. But then when they discover Jesus, or that Santa Claus is not real, they don't keep believing Santa Claus is real and strongly believing Santa Claus is real. They know the difference now. They're not going to believe that's the truth when they know it's not the truth. The truth doesn't change. Just because you believe something doesn't mean it's the truth. I believe in Jesus Christ, and He is the truth. He even said so Himself. I am the truth, the way, the life, and no man comes unto the Father except through me. That's how you're made right with God, is through Jesus. It's not through being a good person. But anyway, the message is about being right with God from your heart. Cain and Abel, in chapter 4 of Genesis, they went through something where you might wonder, why did these things happen to Cain and Abel? What was the point of this? And I think you'll notice that there was something wrong with Cain's heart, because Abel offered first fruit of his flock and their fat portions to the Lord, and he was regarded for his offering. But Cain and his offering had no regard. So Cain was very angry, and his face fell. Immediately you start to see he had something in his heart that he was intentional about. He wanted something from this, and that's why he was angry. He wasn't getting what he wanted. And the Lord says to him, why are you angry? Why is your face fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door. Its desires for you, but you must rule over it. And sin is not doing what's right with the Lord. Sin is disobeying the Lord, is not loving the Lord with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. It's you making an idol out of yourself, really. You putting yourself first before God. I want something from you. I want it. Abel offered his sacrifice because he loved the Lord. His heart was right with God. He wanted to do what pleased God. He was willing to give God something with no return, no expectations of it. His heart was right with God. And I think you'll notice later that we see in verse 9, Cain rose up and killed Abel. He was murderous. Jesus actually speaks about these things in His heart, about people's hearts, He says that it's from your heart where all the issues of life flow. It's not from your mouth. The mouth is what's speaking in the heart. So, because Jesus even said, it's where all these things are flowing from. Like if you have hate in your heart towards your brother, you're actually a murderer. He's pointing out the condition of your heart. That's the thing. So my point about this quick message is that you're going to have to get right with God. You're going to have that intimate relationship with Him. You might come to a church, and if you don't have that intimate relationship with Him, you're not going to discern right from wrong. This is going to look right to you. Like Cain and Abel, it looked like they were both doing the same thing. It looked like they were both offering sacrifices to God, but one of them had their heart right after God, and the other one didn't. It was evident later. But in the immediate time, when they were going through that, it looked the same. They're both offering something pleasing to God. They want to do what's right. One of them had the right purpose in it. From his heart, he wanted to do it towards God with nothing involved with himself, his own heart. He didn't want anything for himself. He wasn't looking for recognition. He wasn't looking for anything. He just wanted to please God. And when you get into a position where you've got a relationship with Jesus Christ, you need to have your heart after God. Those were the two greatest commandments Jesus Christ said when He was asked. Love God with your whole heart, mind, soul, and strength. And number 2 is like that. Love your neighbor like yourself. It wasn't love your neighbor so I can get what I want. It wasn't love God so I can get what I want. It's not that. It's love God because of who He is. He died on that cross so that you could be made right with God. And He didn't do it with any strings attached. You are freely able to receive or deny Him. That's the way it is. So, and I'm going to go on a little bit further on my message about this. Being right with God. Because when you're right with God from your heart, you're having a right relationship with Him. You love Him. You're not doing stuff just to please Him to get what you want. Imagine you were in a relationship with a wife or a husband. You love that wife or husband so much, you do what they want because it pleases them. It's not you do what you think they want so you can get something out of it. That's stupid. That's not a real relationship. That's manipulation. Those things aren't of God that way. So when you go to a church, it's easy to see the difference between religion and a relationship. When you have an intimate relationship with God, you can see those things clearly because they both look the same. You're both doing the same thing, it looks like, from the outside. Both looks like those people are in the one church doing the same as the other church. But in one church, like, for example, I know me, I grew up Roman Catholic. When I go to a Roman Catholic church now, in St. John's, Newfoundland, I can guarantee you it's religion. And I'm saying there can't be a person that has a real relationship with Jesus in that church, but it's religion. It's the same thing. I left the church back when I was 12 years old. When I came back when I was 34 and decided I need to figure out what's going on because I know now God is real. And I went into the Roman Catholic Church because I was trying to figure out what to do and how to find God, to work that relationship out. When I did that, I went back to the Roman Catholic Church and found it's still the same. I never found God in that place. I found religion. That's a clear picture of religion to me. But if you go into a evangelical church, a Pentecostal church, you probably have a clearer, more open-eyed picture of a relationship with God, with Spirit-filled church. Not that those churches don't have religion mixed in with them. That's why it's necessary to have that relationship so you can be right with God. Because first and foremost is your relationship with God. You need to be in that communication, in that place with God. You need to be close to God. Because otherwise, the devil can lead you astray. You can get into a church and be turned aside. There's two people that I came across lately that I've been speaking to. And that's my concern for these people, is that I want them to be so close to God, to be so right with God, to love God with all their heart, mind, soul, and strength so much that they know Him personally, so that when they come across a place that looks right, they'll be able to see what's not right, so that they won't be turned aside by those things that aren't right. Because the devil knows the scriptures, and he tried to use the scriptures against Jesus. Even the devil knows the scriptures, Jesus knows the scriptures, but one of them had a purpose that wasn't for God. And still, he doesn't, because the devil is out to steal, kill, and destroy. He's not in your best interest, but he might try to make it seem that way, And that's my point. So we need to stand firm against those things. And that's probably the best advice that I can give you in being right with God, is be close to God, know God, love God, follow after God with your whole heart, deny yourself. Don't think you know what's best. God knows what's best more than you know what's best. Submit yourself to God. James 4, 7, and 8. I read that today. Submit yourself to God. Resist the devil will flee. Draw close to God, and God will draw close to you. You need to draw close to God, and then He'll come close to you. He'll help you. He'll move you forward. Now, I'm trying to keep this message short, but I want to get to a certain point along the way that when you get to that place of having your heart towards God and having Him first in your life, no matter if you're in or out of a church building, no matter where you're in your life, you're going to be so focused on God, have Him first everywhere you go and everything you do, that you're going to want to please Him in everything you do. Not for your own benefit, but because you love Him as much as He loves you. You're in a relationship. You're going to endure things from sinners. You're going to endure trials. You're going to endure things in life that are going to come your way. Things like temptations to please your flesh, that's going to cause sin in your life. And that's not where we want to be to. We don't want to fall prey to that. But don't be discouraged if you do actually are tempted to sin. If you're tempted to curse, or tempted to steal, tempted to be angry, or tempted to hurt somebody, tempted to do these things, and if you fall prey and actually do those things and come against somebody, or do something that you feel wasn't pleasing to God, repent and turn back to God. Don't let that be a stumbling block in your walk with God. God will forgive you. He will. It happens to everybody when they come to God. God's going to move you forward. He's going to use these things that are coming your way against you, even if you do stumble. He's going to help that to use these things to help you grow in your walk and your relationship with Him. He will. But you're going to have to endure those things. And it says in verse 4 in chapter 12 of Hebrews, in your struggle against sin, you've not resisted to the point of shedding your blood like Jesus did on the cross. And did you forget the exhortation that addresses you as sons or daughters, as the case may be? My son, do not regard lightly the discipline of the Lord, nor be weary when reproved by Him, for the Lord disciplines the one He loves and chastises every son whom He receives. So if He's received you, if you're in a right relationship with God, if you're seeking after Him with your whole heart, trying to do your best towards moving towards God and living for Him, you're going to find that He will allow things in your life to help you to grow in Him. He will want you to weather these things in your life, the temptations to sin, to fall back into fornication, to fall back into drinking or smoking or cursing or, masturbation, pornography, whatever it might be. He will. He'll help you in those things. He's going to allow those things for your benefit. Because when you get through those things, it's going to help you to grow in your character in God. Because He made you in His image. That's what it is. You're made in God's image. And your image is in Him. So if you're made in His image, then He wants you to be like Him. He wants you to be holy as He's holy. But that doesn't mean that you're perfect right away. He's going to bring you through that process. There's a process in it. But think about this. It's for discipline that you have to endure. God's treating you as a son or daughter. And what son of your father is not disciplined? If you are left without discipline, in which all have participated, then you are illegitimate and not sons or daughters. Because we've all had earthly fathers that disciplined us, and we respected them. Shall we not much more subject ourselves to the Father of spirits and live? For our earthly fathers, they disciplined us for a short time as seemed best to them, but He disciplines us for our good, that we may share in His holiness. See, that shares exactly the points that I've been making. And I thank God that He's with us, and that He was tested in all ways just like we were, because He came down in the flesh and made Himself a human being. His Son came down and made Himself a human being, God in flesh. Emmanuel, God with us. That's what the word Emmanuel means. God with us. And He understands the things that we struggle with. And it's not easy for us, but He's with us. And we need to endure the attacks of the enemy. We need to endure those things that seem right but aren't. And we need to stand firm in our faith. Because without faith, it's impossible to please God. So remember that. God is real. He wants you right with Him first, and He will help you through these struggles, and it's for your benefit. He will do it. God bless you.